I just have to say about Dr. Massimino's book, read it. It is fabulous. I've already suggested to my principal that we have that book as our next annual faculty read. I think this is a great choice for our faculty because many of the themes in the book are exactly what we're working on at our school. Team building, perseverance in the face of difficult challenges, and setting and achieving goals.
Hi, I'm Kevin Doughton. I'm Mike Massimino's editor at Crown Archetype of his book Spaceman. To know Mike Massimino is to be inspired by him, not just for what he's accomplished and how he did it, but for the way that he frames all of his achievements, not just as personal successes, but as collective successes, things that just wouldn't have been possible without the people who helped him along the way. Mike's lessons are unique, as is he. If his book can be said to produce an almost magical feeling in the reader, a feeling of possibilities, a feeling of great promise, it's because Mike has lived those feelings on his journey from Long Island to MIT to NASA to the cosmos. He embodies, in many ways, a hope of the future we want for our kids, one in which we continue to push ourselves to achieve our dreams, not for our own satisfaction, but for the greater good of our communities, our countries, and the world. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce a good friend, a great teacher, two-time space traveler, a man who helped save the Hubble telescope and therefore secured our ability to see deeper and deeper into space, and of course, the biggest New York Mets fan in the universe. Astronaut Mike Massimino.
After that, but thank you very much for those intros. This is really an honor for me to be here speaking in front of all of you, because throughout my book you'll see how much my teachers helped me from when I was very little through elementary school, junior high, high school, college, graduate school, and even my instructors at NASA. I would call them teachers as well, but they've played a great role in my life. So thank you for everything you do for all our young people. And for me, as a little boy at 6, during that summer when they walked on the moon for the first time, it just grabbed me. And I know just about everybody that was alive at that time watched it. Just about everyone who was my age wanted to grow up to be an astronaut, but I knew there was something different about it when I saw it on the television. When I looked up at the moon and I thought about people being there, it grabbed me in my soul and my heart deep and never really let go. By the time I got to be about 8 or 9, I forgot about, or I don't know if I say forgot, but I hid the fact that I wanted to be an astronaut. I pushed it away somewhere because it just seemed to be impossible. You know, I was a skinny, awkward kid. I was a good student, but not the best student in the class. I definitely was not one of these fearless people I saw, these test pilots, Neil Armstrong. I was not that. I'm afraid of heights. I still am. I feel much more comfortable over here than I do closer to that window. I don't like heights. I didn't like roller coasters. I don't like going fast in a car. I'm not a thrill seeker. But I think getting out of school gave me a chance to start thinking a little bit about where I was going in my life. And I noticed something, and this is what I like to tell the students that I speak to, is that look for things, just notice your own behavior. Look for things that are important to you. I was telling myself that little boy still wanted to be an astronaut, and either I could ignore it and read about it as I was traveling back and forth to Manhattan, or I could do something about it. And I decided I had to do something about it. And I knew that it was unlikely. Right? That's the word in the title, that I really wanted to be in that title, because I think it's very, very unlikely. But I knew I had to try. I knew the probability was probably 0, but I need to give it a shot. And what I did is I went to graduate school at MIT. There's a lot in the book about that. That is not an easy place to go to school. I failed my qualifying exam trying to get my PhD there, and I talk a lot about that. And what I realized at MIT, and what I realized I first learned this, I guess, at Columbia, and even as a high school student, and even going back even before then, was the way that I learn. How do I learn? How do I get things accomplished? And I found out that what I realized is that I learn through teamwork, through getting help. Okay, and what I encourage students to do when I speak to them is to realize when you need help and then go get it. It's not that you're stupid. It's that it's hard. What you're trying to learn, no matter what you're trying to learn. And I had trouble with 8th grade earth science. Okay, Mrs. Katz, who's not here today, I hope not. No, Mrs. Katz can tell you that I had trouble at 8th grade of earth science. I needed to get help. One of the National Honor Society kids helped me. Mrs. Katz helped me, and I was able to get through it. I was only 13, right? Now I'm getting my PhD at MIT. It's the same thing. And I found that my teachers at Columbia, my TAs at Columbia helped me. I write about this. And when I got to MIT, I was a grad student, so it was a little bit different. But in my laboratory, my fellow PhD students, we helped each other. We set up practice oral examinations. And this is what I try to get across in a book, that life is a team game. And if you're trying to do something that you feel is important to you and it's tough, it's not going to come easy, and it's because it's tough for everybody. I've been very lucky to get to meet some very interesting people in my life, whether it's sports figures or rock stars or people in business or explorers. And there's one common thing they have. Successful people are not the people that never failed. They're the people that never let failure stop them. And I felt that I realized when I was in grad school, I can distinctly remember this day. I was in my dorm thinking that the astronaut job is the greatest job ever. It's the job for me. And then a second later I realized, but I'll never get it. It's impossible. But I realized it really wasn't impossible. It was just very improbable. I was rejected 3 times from the astronaut program before I was accepted. My job was to go to the Hubble Space Telescope and be a spacewalker. That's Hubble. I talk about Hubble in the book. It's a magnificent instrument. I think it's the greatest scientific instrument ever built, or at least one of those. It's an engineering wonder by what its capabilities are, but it gives us this great science, answers these big questions, discovered dark matter and dark energy, and is looking for life in other places of the universe, and it's just a fantastic instrument. That's a still picture. I described the launch in my book, both of my launches, and it's you go from 0 to 17,500 miles an hour in just 8.5 minutes, and so there's a lot for you physics teachers. That's a pretty good acceleration physics problem right there. But when you're inside of it, my very first launch, I thought there was something wrong. And that's when I talk about that experience. I really was scared. People ask me a lot if I was scared as an astronaut. Oh yeah, no kidding, I was. My first, but the second time I was able to enjoy it a little bit more, and I described the feeling of leaving Earth and what it's like and the sensation of power. It's the realization of a dream going into space, and it's surreal. And I still can't believe I actually got a chance to do it, but it was just awesome getting a chance to do that. A lot of the book describes what I see during a spacewalk. The spacewalks from Hubble were 100 miles higher than where the space station is, so you can see the curvature of the planet. And those first moments I describe of being out there and being overwhelmed by the view. And I talk about it, at different phases of what I was thinking. The other thing that was overwhelming to me too at that point when I was looking at it was, thank God I didn't give up when I was a little kid, or when I got told no 3 times and all that other stuff. Those are the moments that make it worthwhile, right? You see that, and that was enough payback for me, just getting to view the planet.
Open the doors, protective doors over the fixed head star trackers and the race.
So what you're seeing is scenes of our spacewalk. That's me inside. So I stress teamwork and the importance of it and how we work together to do our job. And so that's me handing out a gyroscope to Mike Good.
On the new module, securing it to the Bay 2 door.
Okay, so now we're going to get to the next spacewalk for Mike and I, which is a couple days later, and I go and strip this screw, okay? And that's my commander trying to act like he's not worried, but he's pretty worried in there too. But I realized that we were a team. This is really important. That it's great to be a team member when you're winning. Everyone parties after the game, and that's great, right? Everyone's happy. But it's not so easy to be a team member when something's going wrong, when one of your teammates is having a problem. But the important thing is I think we have a very bright future in space. And whether a student is interested in space or something else, the important thing is to give it a try, not give up, find a passion, because things are going to be hard no matter what you choose. You might as well choose something you like. I think the private space companies, the entrepreneurs that are looking to explore space, I think there's going to be great opportunities in the future for our students. We're trying to unlock the secrets of the universe, in what it was in the title, but it's to improve the knowledge here on Earth, to do something good for the world, and that's what the space program is about. And what you do has great benefit by educating students, giving us a future. NASA plays a small role in that by helping us understand where our place in the universe is. And this is one of our early release images after we fixed the telescope, which showed that the work we did actually was successful. And this is one of the first pictures that came out. We're looking at a section of the sky in Omega Centauri. Each one of these dots that you see here is a star. There are 100,000 of them in this image, and that's only part of the story. They're part of a larger star field of about 10 million stars there. But thank you very much. This has been a real treat for me. Thank you.
After reading the book, I'm sure that you will agree that SPACEMAN can easily be incorporated into both your professional and private life and into your lesson plans to use with your students. The Educator Guide for SPACEMAN, a rough draft of which is in the back, is divided into 5 parts. Questions for faculty, if you decide to use that as a faculty read. And then in the classroom, STEM activities, ELA activities, a timeline of the history of telescopes, because Dr. Massimino worked on repairing the Hubble telescope, and a brief list of resources. The guide is designed to be used with high school students or with advanced middle school students. Elementary teachers could use both the book and the guide, but you'd probably want to do some modifications. However, the guide does contain many class discussion questions, which could be used at any grade level. The STEM and ELA activities have Common Core and Next Gen standards given so you can easily fit the activities into your lesson plans. Besides the class discussion questions, there are individual student activities. Some of the activities are research-based, some are opinion questions, some answers are found in the book, and for others, the students will have to look elsewhere. There's plenty of writing in both the ELA and the STEM activities. One of our favorite STEM activities is to mimic the repair of the Hubble telescope by having students remove the hard drive of a dead computer while wearing gloves. It's one thing to read about something that is difficult, it's another to experience it for yourself. The activity will help students to understand that no matter how daunting something may appear, one can be successful if one works with others to solve the problem and does not give up. What we like about the ELA activities in general is that many of the questions ask students to connect their own life with what they read in the book. For example, why is failure sometimes more important than success? By thinking deeply about this and other questions, the students not only gain a connection with the book, but their thought process helps them realize that their life experiences are valuable because it makes them who they are and assists them in finding a path where they want to go. In the STEM activities section is an activity applicable to all classrooms. With the myriad of negative things in the news these days, the overview effect is something I wish everyone could visualize. Defined as a cognitive shift in awareness that the Earth is a single planet rather than many different individual countries, each with different agendas. The overview effect, admirably explained by Dr. Massimino, helps to make the question, why can't we all just get along, one of history rather than one that applies in so many situations today. I hope you enjoy the guide and its many activities. The final version of our guide, along with many other guides by Random House, will be available on their website. Thank you.